Really? Okay, we'll start. 30 seconds.
He should be. Not going.
I didn't get
I reminded him.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the February 21st regular meeting of the City Commission. We thank those in the audience that are joining us tonight, and also, as well as those that are at home watching. I'd like to start our meeting tonight with a moment of silence for the 3 MSU students who lost their lives, the 5 who were injured, a couple of them seriously, the families, the student body, and faculty of MSU, our state and our nation, due to senseless violence. Spartan Strong. Okay.
Here.
With that, we'd like to begin our meeting by acknowledging that the land on which we gathered is the territory of the Ottawa and Chippewa peoples, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We thank you for your strength and resilience in protecting this land and inspiring us to uphold our responsibilities to do the same. As we go through our meeting tonight, may our discussions, conversation, interaction be undertaken with respect, dignity, and patience and charity for each of us and by each of us. So with that, Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Colburn, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Maritek.
Yes, good evening, Commissioner Werner. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Shamrow.
Here.
Commissioner Wilson. Here. Commissioner Stanley.
Here.
Commissioner Treadwell.
Here.
Commissioner Colbert. And Mayor Lewis.
Here. Commissioner Colburn is on a mission of mercy with her parents, so she is excused for the evening. Okay, announcements from the city manager.
I just wanted to make everyone aware, we do have a storm warning coming in. We're expecting and planning for and have crews prepared for tomorrow evening and the next day. The red alert that went out was for tomorrow from 1 p.m. till Thursday, 7 p.m. For anywhere from, your guess, they're all estimating inches, and I'll leave that alone.
Announcements from the city clerk, please.
Yes, meetings for this week to announce. So this is the week of February 20th. The Planning Commission will meet on Wednesday, February 22nd. That'll be at 7 p.m. in the training room on the second floor of the Governmental Center. The City Commission's EMS Transport Ad Hoc Committee will meet. That'll be Thursday, February 23rd at 9 a.m. in the committee room on the second floor of the Governmental Center. And then the Local Officers Compensation Commission will meet on February 27th. That's Monday, February 27th at 4 p.m. in the committee room on the second floor of the Governmental Center. Just some miscellaneous community updates. We continue to eagerly ask for applicants for the City Academy. We're accepting applications through the end of this month, and applications can be found on the city's website, and anyone with any questions about City Academy is encouraged to contact the city clerk's office. And I wanted to share that last week the city hosted some community engagement sessions for the TART Improvement and Extension Project. The virtual meeting was recorded, and conceptual designs can be found on the project website or under the city's project section of our website. And also there's a link in that space to provide feedback, and that'll be sought through February. And we ask folks to save the date for the next round of engagement sessions, and those are on March 15th and March 16th. Again, all regarding the TART Improvement and Extension Project. And then we're excited to be hosting the high school state championships for Nordic skiing at Hickory Hills. That's on March 4th and 5th. And our partners, the Vasa Ski Club, are seeking volunteers for the event. So anyone interested in volunteering can go to the website vasaskiclub.org to volunteer to help with that tournament at Hickory on March 4th and 5th. And last thing is just to remind everybody up here to please speak into the microphone so folks Can hear you, and that's all that I've got.
Can I ask something really quickly? I know that right now they're doing the master plan feedback tourism at the library, and they did it online this afternoon. I know the afternoon one was recorded, so that will be available in the near future. Is that the plan?
I'm not 100% sure, honestly.
I'll follow up on that with Sean then.
Okay, all
Thank
right.
you.
Yep.
It should be.
Right.
Anyway, one other quick apology on my behalf. A couple of meetings ago, when Commissioner Treadwell and I were barbing back and forth about our K-9 unit, I mentioned that it was a puppy. It was not a puppy. It was a full-trained officer of our force, so my apologies for the offense that I gave. With that, we move on to the consent calendar, please.
Yes, the purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public can ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed from it and placed elsewhere on the agenda for individual consideration by the commission, and such requests will be automatically respected. And if an item isn't removed from the consent calendar, the action noted in parentheses on the agenda is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. And the first item on the agenda is consideration of approving minutes, and there actually aren't minutes ready for your approval, so that's not actually on here. And then item 2 is consideration of enacting an amendment to the Traverse City Code of Ordinances, which would provide that the term of the city commission representatives on the planning commission follow their elected term, which is consistent with Michigan law and is a housekeeping matter. Enactment recommended. Item 3, consideration of authorizing a professional services contract with Traverse Connect for economic development services for the period of March 1st, 2023 through February 29th, 2024. Approval recommended. Item 4, consideration of authorizing an agreement for Jubilee House to provide day shelter services at Safe Harbor, and it should also be at Jubilee House as well, so both locations. And that is so they can, again, provide day shelter services. Approval recommended. Item 5, consideration of authorizing a contract for the purchase and installation of equipment updates at the Larry C. Hardy parking structure and the Old Town parking structure, in consideration of authorizing an amendment to the parking management software contract as recommended by the Downtown Development Authority Board of Trustees. Approval recommended. Item 6, consideration of authorizing a change order to the contract for the 200-block river wall stabilization project for unanticipated wall penetration repairs. Approval recommended. Item 7, consideration of waiving the competitive bidding process and authorizing a purchase order for water meter reading nodes and including a 5% contingency. Approval recommended. And finally, item 8, consideration of accepting the audited financial statements for fiscal year 2021-2022. Acceptance recommended.
Okay. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to have an item removed from the consent calendar? Yes, sir.
Items 3 and 6, please.
Items 3 and 6. Okay. Anybody else? Any other item? Is there anyone from the audience that would like to have an item removed from the consent calendar? Okay. With that, if I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as amended.
I will
So
make the
moved.
motion. I'll second with thanks to the mayor for his work on item number 4 with Jubilee House. I appreciate that. It's much
Well-
appreciated by the community.
Well, my thanks to this commission for being willing to put some of our money into it. So you've not only accomplished 2 years, you've accomplished almost 3 years of funding for that trial. So thank you. And thank you for all the other community members that came together on it. So, okay. With that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. The first item that was removed from the consent calendar is consideration of authorizing a professional services contract with Traverse Connect for economic development service beginning March 1st through February 29th, 2024. You had this removed, Mr. Warner?
I did, and could probably tell at the previous meeting I had some concerns. I would be more comfortable if this actually went out for bid, as far as looking for a facilitator to help convene housing meetings with our other municipalities around Traverse City, as opposed to just, essentially letting this to Traverse Connect without a bid. That's all.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other comments from the commission?
If you have a comment, I was just going to make the motion.
Yeah, I was just wanting Commissioner Shamrow or Mayor Pro Tem Shamrow to weigh in as the city's liaison to Drivers Connect.
Well, I
How
would
she
say,
feels that this has been working.
I would say that I don't necessarily think that the $50,000 that this is the continuation of the contract we had before. That, to me, that hinges on the housing option of it. I hear what Commissioner Warner's saying, and I don't think has to be the done deal of it. I think for what we put into it, what we've gotten out of it, even just being a board member, has been very productive. It's a very good connection for us within the city, to other entities, as well as a lot of businesses. I think we can be strong on our nonprofit connections, but not always strong on our businesses. So I think we get a lot out of it right now for $50,000, so I think it's worth it at that level. Where that goes with the housing aspect and what else we might get out of it, I think we can discuss further. But that's kind of a value add, because that option didn't increase our contract. It's kind of a value add to the contract. So in that sense, I think it's still an excellent contract.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make
Or
the motion.
not.
I'll make the motion that the mayor and city clerk execute an agreement with Traverse Connect in the amount of $50,000 for economic development services as generally outlined in the meeting materials for February 21st, 2023, meeting of the city commission, with funds available in the economic development fund, and with such agreement subject to its approval I just messed myself up. With such agreement and subject to approval as to its substance by the city manager and its form by the city attorney, and the term to be effective from March 1st, 2023 to February 29th, 2024, the payment to be made by April 1st, 2023.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any other comments from the commission? Thank you. I will entertain any comments from the audience, if there are any. Thank you. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
No,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Werner,
no.
Mayor Pro Tem Shamrow.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley,
Yes.
Commissioner Treadwell,
Yes.
and Mayor Lewis.
Yes. Okay. The next item was item number 6, which was consideration authorizing a change order for the contract for the 200 block Riverwall stabilization project for unanticipated wall penetration repairs. You had this pulled, Mr. Warner?
I did. And this will pass as well, I'm quite confident. But two things, because it was on our consent calendar, so the opportunity to speak to it. Very early on with this project, it got mislabeled by the media as a wall stabilization project. And then we as a city started labeling it as such, and I cautioned us previously against that, but now it's stuck. And that happens. That's what marketing is all about. You put the words out there and eventually they stick. Because what it is an alley stabilization project. We as a community saw that the alley was failing. We were concerned. We hired outside consultants to monitor the wall specifically to see whether there was any movement whatsoever, and there was not. And they went diving underneath as well to investigate to see if there were any indications of failure of the wall in that infrastructure, and there was not. So yes, the alley is failing, but to call it a wall stabilization project was good for the media because it sells advertisements when you can scare people into thinking that a sewer main behind that wall might fail at any moment. And so just using it as opportunity again to say the sewer main is absolutely fine. We've had zero indications, and we could find it in our old minutes, zero indications that there's any possibility of failure any more than the possibility this building falls into the river like while we're all in it tonight. So that was one thing. My second item is specific to what's on here as far as these penetrations. And bear with me here, but we have an ordinance against feeding ducks. And that ordinance is because of E. coli and other microorganisms from duck guano. That's the word I'm looking for, guano. I assume that these buildings that these stormwater discharges come from probably get pigeons on their roof on a regular basis, maybe nesting up there even, and maybe they haven't been cleaned in decades. And so stormwater is coming from up on top where the pigeons are, and with this sheet piling was a once in a generation or maybe a once in 100 years opportunity to address that stormwater. But, and I'm not blaming staff in any way, to me, this falls to our outside consultants that we pay good money to help us. You know, we talk about a riparian buffer and all that sort of things. A riparian buffer is meaningless if you have a pipe, right? A pipe essentially makes the building a distance of 0 feet from the river, wherever it is. If there's a pipe, it's 0 feet away, and that's what we have. So we've just given away our once in 100-year opportunity to do something about stormwater, which again was part of the whole conversation of the 100 and 200 block and even the whole lower Boardman leadership team. Like, let's do better by the river. Here's stormwater, which we profess to be concerned about, and we're saying, well, let's just put it in a pipe and put it right into the river. So I'll be voting against this. I know it's symbolic,
But
it'll pass.
It's already in the pipe there. I understood it. Anyway, we'll move forward with it. Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Treadwell?
Yes, going off Commissioner Werner's first point, this isn't a wall stabilization, it's an alley stabilization. But furthermore, this particular item is not the wall stabilization itself, it's reinforcement along specific outlet pipes. I have paddled
right.
along the river multiple times, including 2 days ago when it was very nice. And you can clearly see where there are rusted out portions of that sheet pile wall around outlet pipes. I've wondered if this is a concern for a while now. It was under the radar a bit, especially since a number of the outlet pipes are below the high water line. But I am glad to see that this is going to be addressed. Getting to Commissioner Werner's second point, while it might be theoretically possible to direct a number of stormwater drains into a hydroswirl or some similar catchment basin before they go into the river, and that would help to filter out various sources of contamination, including guano from pigeons, and there's also seagulls that nest up there. We have a rather large seagull population downtown and along our beachfront. That's a theoretical solution, but that is a lot more cumbersome and would involve a full alley tear-up and probably a special assessment district funding model to get all the property owners on board, since currently they have a pipe that runs from their rooftop to the water, and that handles their stormwater. It would be a lot more complicated to have any solution that essentially bypassed that and tried to filter it better.
I disagree 100%. It's not a lot more complicated. And again, this is a once in 100-year opportunity, and we didn't even bother to look at it to see how much it would cost.
Well, we should have started that 9 months ago.
Yep.
It has been looked at in that the lower Boardman leadership team had maps available, including in the report that was brought to us,
All right.
that showed all the outlet drains from stormwater from building rooftops along Front Street.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute a change order with Elmer's Crane and Dozer in an amount not to exceed $28,003 to make wall penetration repairs to the 200 block river wall stabilization for sanitary sewer system project as outlined in the memo dated February 9th with funds available in the sewer fund.
Support.
We got a motions or support?
Support.
Support.
Sorry.
Okay. Any other comments from the city commission? Anybody from the audience would like to make a comment? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
No.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Shamro,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley,
Yes.
Commissioner Treadwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Werner,
No.
and Mayor Lewis.
Yes. Under old business, we have consideration of an intergovernmental agreement for the city's share costs of professional facilities planning purposes. I know we had an overview of this last week at our study session. So any other questions? I think we have Mr. Novak, who will be the project manager of this particular project for the city and the county here, if we have any particular questions. I told him he couldn't ask questions, but you can. So with that, we'll start this if you want to entertain a motion. So we'll take it from there.
I'll make the motion that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute an intergovernmental agreement with Grand Traverse County as outlined in the assistant manager's February 13th, 2023 memo, an amount not to exceed $30,308.11 to memorialize the city's cost share of the county's agreement for facilities planning, such contract subject to its substance by the city manager and its form by the city attorney with funds therefore available in the general fund.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Support.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further comments from the commission members?
I would just say that I appreciated Penny's comments last time. I can't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago now.
Last week.
That this will be a holistic look at everything based on what the county's plans are and ours, and not just us sticking in our lane of 26%.
right.
So I'm excited to see what will come out of that.
I'm excited to see what comes out of this. Good luck. Okay. Anybody from the audience that have a comment they would like to make on this? All right. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
No.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley,
Yes.
Commissioner Treadwell,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shamro,
Yes.
Commissioner Werner,
No.
and Mayor Lois.
Yes. All those in, motion passes. Under old business, we have a consideration of acting an amendment to the City of Traverse City Code of Ordinance, which would address the building size of C2 uses and other standards within the I industrial district. I know this came out of result of looking at the property that the city has on Beitner, and so that if we would like to consider the idea of having a multi-unit living quarters there, that we would have to make the zoning change. So that's what kind of processed this particular item. So I know we heard about it a month ago. I don't know, Sean couldn't make it tonight, correct?
No, I can identify, though, Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, that we've identified actually 2 properties, but the 2 properties was the Beitner properties and also Annika 2. And so we recognize that and see that this could be helpful. One of the primary advantages is the size of the footprint is significantly larger so that we can get a more dense additional housing units into these areas. So whatever the use of these particular properties, we see this as advantageous within that particular zoning district in the future.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Any comments from the public on this one that they may want to address? Yes,
I'll
please.
just state the rules for public comment. Anyone addressing the commission tonight, please indicate your name and address if you're a city resident, non-city resident, or city business owner. We have a 3-minute time allotment. When your time has elapsed, the timer will beep, and we ask that all language be respectful to everyone, which we know you always are, right, Connor?
I'll do my best.
All
Thanks,
right.
man. So good evening. My name is Connor Miller, Government Affairs Director with Aspire North Realtors, located in Traverse City at 852 South Garfield Avenue. I am a Garfield Township resident located at 890 Boone Street. So I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate the work of the city staff, the Planning Commission, and the City Commission to address this and to hopefully take the step today to amend the building size limitations and modify the hours of operations for C2 district uses allowed in the industrial district, shifting city zoning policy to allow for an increase in the quantity and the density of residential housing in Traverse City. So thank you, hopefully, for your efforts tonight and your continued efforts to create an environment in Traverse City that allows for greater residential housing development. So thank you for your efforts, and let's keep going. Thank you.
Okay. Any other one? Anybody else from the public? Okay, thanks. All right, yes.
Yes, as I've spoken before to the Planning Commission and to the City Commission, I am not opposed to the general expansion of residential classification in the city. We need more housing. I am not opposed to the expansion of C2 hours uses in the industrial district. considering we allow a factory to operate 3 shifts 24/7, it would make sense that we can allow, say, a diner to operate 24/7. I would really wish we had 24/7 diners back in this town again. That's a different matter. But I don't think that having residential and industrial uses in close proximity is the best policy, nor is it recognized. In fact, it's recognized as bad policy for decades of zoning history. That industrial uses have noise, vibration, chemical pollution to air and water and soil that can be inconvenient, to say the least, to seriously health detrimental or worse, to have them in close proximity to residential areas. Similarly, if an area that had been industrial in character, even if that industry sees a temporary slowdown due to a recession and has residential development move in, that can prohibit future industrial expansion as a result of then you have more people in close proximity that can complain about noise or emissions or other aspects of an industrial facility near to them. I think that Annika Place Phase 2 is a great idea and is well suited to the corridor. I would like to see more of the Hastings corridor in commercial and residential built landscape, replicating that of the current Garfield corridor. However, I see this as something that would require an overall zoning change rather than a change of use. If we are going to see more residential character and less factory-type commercial use along Hastings, then it should be classified as a different commercial use, probably C3 or C2, or it should be classified as one of our D districts, as we have for, at this point, 3 other places in town that were historically industrial in character, but then transitioned to other uses, including residential. I think that this is a good idea in general, but this is the wrong tool to go about doing it. As such, I will be voting no.
Very good. Any other comments from the City Commission? Okay. Anyone from the public like to make a comment? Okay, I'll be glad to entertain a motion.
Okay. Jeez.
Uh,
Okay, I think I'm on the right one. I'll make the motion that allows, make a motion for amendments to the Traverse City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1354.01, uses allowed as recommended by the Planning Commission, which was introduced on January 17th, 2023, be enacted with an effective date 8 days after publication, which would address building size of C2 issues and other standards in the I industrial district.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion to support. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Treadwell,
No.
Commissioner Werner,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Shamro.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley.
Yes.
Mayor Lewis.
Yes. Benjamin, aren't you proud of me? I can remember to say roll call.
Yeah, good
I'm doing pretty good here. Okay, I'm on a roll here tonight. Okay, next under new business, we were to have an annual fire department report from Mr. Toller. I don't see him with us.
Yes, he's right
Oh,
there.
there he is. I'm sorry, I didn't
Blind
see.
spot.
Okay.
Anywhere in the building.
Uh-huh. Okay. Jim, why don't you sit here so you don't have to be standing up, please? Okay. We're
you going to pull it up or not?
You have a present, like a PowerPoint?
Yeah, you guys have it in your packet, right? PowerPoint?
Yes, we do.
All right, cool. Well, I'm not really, anyway, let me get started here. My name's Jim Tuller, Fire Chief for the City of Traverse City. Reside at 220 West 13th Street in the central neighborhood. Tonight, we're presenting our rundown of what we accomplished in 2022 and what we hope to accomplish this next year in 2023. I know that we're trying to squeeze the annual reports down a little bit time-wise, so I'll do my best. Just a few things I want to pick up through the report. I had a lot of help doing the report. Alana Crouch, my new administrative assistant, is a real rock star at these things. She makes the department look good every day. My captains helped out as well, so all the credit goes to them, not so much me. But in my forward, I talked about a few things going on and a few things in the future. I just want to hit on a few key points here. And please, for the public, the presentation is contained on the city webpage. Under Fire Department, you can access that, and happy to answer any questions. My email and contact information is in the report. What we see in the future is, piggybacking on the hot topic of housing, right? Housing has been talked about a lot in the city. And with good reason, density and just the recent action by the city commission, looking for different ways to fill in those housing gaps in the city. We anticipate, based on information provided to us from sources, 800 new hotel rooms in the city and within the immediate area within the next year and a half. Assisted living centers coming to our periphery. All that adds up to more of a demand on emergency services. And to that end, 3 years ago, there was a study taken up by TriData to look at city fire becoming the primary transport agency in the city. Work continues with that project. In 2022, an ad hoc committee was formed, and it was just recently reformed, and work continues. In fact, I think we have a meeting this Friday on that, with goals and objectives established there to look at that, to look at the possibility of city fire becoming a primary EMS transport agency, only for the fact that that side of our business, everybody's business in the county, is getting busier and busier every day. And we have some statistics and graphs in the report that you can refer to. We're hoping too, with the continual change and the challenges of keeping people safe in their homes, wherever they live, apartment, mobile home, house, wherever they reside, from the effects and threat of fire. We're ramping up our public education program. We're having a lot more tours through the department. We're doing a lot more Facebook interaction, a lot more public education to try to keep not only our citizens, but also our visitors safe while they spend time here in our city. A couple of good things. Last year and continuing into 2023, the city contracted with Raymond Group, which is a HR and recruitment professional service. And we recently had 9 applicants about 4 weeks ago travel into our city and try out for the Traverse City Fire Department. The first process is a physical agility test. 7 of them showed up to take that. 3 passed out of the 7. 2 passed a written test, and we're interviewing both of those people in this room tomorrow afternoon. So all of the work done with changes in a collective bargaining agreement and investment by the city into the fire department to hire this other firm and to get our word out is paying off. It's in a positive direction. It's happening incrementally. Some things you just can't wait to happen, but it is working well. We have another 10 in the pipeline, so to speak, that we will start that process over again here probably within the next 3 weeks. So we're starting to move in a good direction in that area. And last to wrap up, when was it? Friday, February 10, we got in under the deadline. We submitted a grant to the federal government for a replacement ladder truck. Our 2004 ladder truck we purchased way back then was $1.4 million. A replacement now is $1.9 million. And that's a lot of money. We figured to get 15, 20 years out of that truck. The challenge there, though, as with everything, right, supply chain issues, if I had a check in my hands today and went to the manufacturer, it'd be 3 years before we see that truck. And with the inspections process done by the city garage and by a third party, we're hopeful that the current ladder truck we have will get us to that deadline. We'll find out about that grant a little bit later this summer. And then in May, we're going to also apply to, through the U.S. Coast Guard for a port security grant to replace our 1984 Marine One rescue vessel. And so we'll be on point to do that here in May. I'm pretty sure it's probably 5 or maybe 6 minutes. But if there's any questions, I'd be happy to entertain. But more importantly, my contact information is there. I'm a pretty easy guy to get a hold of. You all know where the fire station is, so I'm always happy to chat with people. Commissioner.
Yes, I've seen you do it in previous years.
Sorry, sir, can you speak up just a little bit? I'm recovering from a head cold.
Yeah, I've seen you, well, not you personally, but I've seen the fire department do this in previous years. You mentioned that you did it in 2022. But are you either by regulatory standards or by internal protocols required to do ice training every year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are. In fact, we're not getting ice this year, so what we're doing.
Yeah, that's would be my follow-up question.
Yeah, we're not getting ice this year.
At Boardman Lake is currently at 1/3 ice cover. I haven't been able to ice fish at all this year.
Right.
So is there plans to, say, go to Cadillac or Grayling or someplace
We
else?
probably won't travel out of the city. We hate to do that, but we are reviewing our protocols and our procedures, and we're working with Coast Guard Charlevoix in that training. Typically, we have them down. We had a really big exercise scheduled for tomorrow,
Okay.
which involved the state, local, federal government, Coast Guard, the military, area responders. I mean, it was going to be a pretty big event. We were going to do helo pickoffs on Boardman Lake, all that, but Mother Nature didn't cooperate. So we're scheduling that for next year. But yeah, we're doing our ice rescue training. We won't have the ice, but we'll go through the motion with our equipment and everything.
Yeah. But the fact that the ice has been so sketchy and thin this year, I would say highlights the importance of having a fire department that is able to respond if somebody tries to go out there and finds themselves in a very risky situation.
Yeah, we count on the public to keep themselves safe, but, they get jammed up once in a while, and that's why we're here. So we're happy to help. But thank you for the question, sir.
We should have
There's
told
nothing
you,
else?
we should have told you, Chief, that just for
Yeah.
making the effort to get up, we would have given you 5 extra minutes just to make it worth your time.
Oh, no, that's fine. I could go 50, you know me. But I'm trying to be respectful of the process, and it's a meeting
No,
night.
no, thank you, no.
And I have a meeting tomorrow night, too. So I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for the support, and we'll keep the information coming.
And if you do want to visit with them, they usually have coffee.
Yes.
So there you go.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay. Next on our agenda is kind of a fun one. We haven't seen one of these in a while. The new neighborhood association and our acceptance of such. So with that, we have consideration of adopting a resolution recognizing the base of Old Mission, i.e. Boom neighborhood, with City Clerk Benjamin Maritek to serve as the city's liaisons to that particular neighborhood. Benjamin, you just want to keep up what's going on in your neighborhood.
Yeah, right, yeah. That's just another way to connect with a neighbor, so it'll be good. Yeah.
You're just looking for the party.
Always, right?
Always, okay.
Honorable Mayor,
You have this, I mean, who's leading on this one?
I'll take a few moments, but I'll actually ask Penny to step in here in a moment. We have a number of different neighborhoods in which we have a staff member assigned to most of these, and they can rotate sometimes, or when a staff member leaves, we replace them. Most of the neighborhood associations are active of at least a couple times a year, not always, not every year. And of course, COVID held that up a little bit. This is a new neighborhood association, and of course, we all like the name Boom. It's a little exciting. I did go to, instead of just putting it out there to the staff for assignment, I did ask Benjamin specifically, because he's in that neighborhood, if he would like to represent the city as the liaison, and he did accept that new challenge. So thank you, Benjamin, and we'll reassign the one that he currently has. These processes go through the assistant city manager. Penny, is there anything else you want to add in terms of the communications that you had with the neighborhood?
Here you go.
Thank you.
Penny Hill, assistant city manager.
Yes, Penny Hill, Assistant City Manager. I just wanted to say that this particular neighborhood has taken a little bit of extra time to get organized only because there was a neighborhood listed on our website that was Orchard Heights, and neighborhoods can't overlap one another. So because Orchard Heights was still in that area, we had some outreach from citizens saying, is our neighborhood going to be part of this new one or part of the old one? In doing some research, we found that Orchard Heights was never really formally formed, and the boundaries were not identified. So as part of this action tonight, we'd like to remove Orchard Heights as a neighborhood, since they were never officially formed, and add the Boom neighborhood, which incorporates certain areas of Orchard Heights.
And I'll just say I'm looking forward to being their liaison. I'll be at their first meeting on March 2nd, so it'll be good.
Is there a representative from the neighborhood here tonight?
I don't
We
think
can just let
so.
them do it.
No.
I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that the city commission amend the resolution recognize, or wait, which one you want done first, or?
The top.
Yeah, top one. That the resolution recognizing neighborhood association in Traverse City be amended to include base of Old Mission, Boom, neighborhood.
Thank you. We didn't add the other part, removing the old orchard. That was in the recommendation. Do you need that in there too?
I was just going to say that, but thank you. Yes, if we can
And
just
removing
include
the
that in
Orchard
your
Heights.
motion.
And removing Orchard Heights neighborhood. Yeah, there was 2 recommendations, so
Yeah.
I went with the shorter one.
Support.
Going with the one on the cover memo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wise man. Okay, thanks. Is there anyone from the
Mitch,
public?
were you seconding that?
Yes.
I thought it.
Okay. I thought I saw you nod your head. All right.
Can I just
yes.
want to make a really quick comment. I'm really excited about this, and I have my neighborhood. I'm in Traverse Heights, and we do our nice quarterly meetings where we get updates from city staff and kind of get to share what's going on. But I have heard from some people in the city, well, I don't have a neighborhood association, so my voice, I don't matter. There's a lot out there saying that if you have a neighborhood association, that's the only way to get heard. So I'm excited to see these forum, and I'm excited for the ones we have, and we have really great communities. I hope people that don't have a neighborhood association don't feel disenfranchised. You can always reach out to us commissioners, our staff. Everybody wants to hear from you. We can come to meetings, but you can also email us. We definitely all get a lot of emails. So I just wanted to reiterate that we're excited about the new neighborhood, but reiterate that we're here, whether you have an association or not, to hear what your concerns and needs.
And for people looking to continue their involvement, aside from City Academy that Benjamin already mentioned, there are nearly always vacancies on city boards and commissions for people to apply for.
Okay. All those in, yes, sir.
Actually, yeah, just to follow up, because Mayor Pro Tem Shamro started to address it. It did address it, but I did hear from some residents just in the past week, similar topic as far as their voices. And I encouraged them. I said, we are all essentially volunteers, but we're happy, I believe, not to speak for everybody, but we're happy to hear from the public, whether it's a telephone call. Actually, I know you have coffee like 5 times a day with people, but have coffee with people,
5.
email, whatever it is. But we do tend to make ourselves available. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
feel we're not, or it's too much to ask, but it's very rare that I've been asked to coffee. And I know I'm prickly, but I love coffee.
He's a good coffee committee.
Thanks.
You're killing me, Smalls. Okay. With that, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Congratulations to the new neighborhood, so appreciate you coming together. Next, we have the consideration of authorizing an agreement with the Cherry Festival for 2024 and 2025 National Cherry Festival events. It's 2 years. Do you want me to turn this straight over to Benjamin, or?
Yes, other than that, I would like to recognize that Kat Pay is here in the audience, who is the executive director of the
Thank
Cherry Festival.
Thank you. Benjamin?
Great. I'll be brief. Just like my memo in your packet, just the quick highlights are that, for the last few years, we've been authorizing 2-year agreements with the Cherry Festival. It helps with planning purposes. and those sorts of things. I did want to mention that there's always last-minute details to work out. We have, as you can imagine, a lot of ongoing communication. So the agreement, if authorized, does indicate that it's contingent on issuance of final permits by my office. So that gives us the lever to really work those things out in case availability of certain properties change or there's just different needs to take into consideration. But I want to mention that over the last several years, we've for years been doing debriefs after each of the events, and we track what's shared at those meetings so that we can continually improve. And I just want to genuinely give the staff at the Cherry Festival compliments on their diligence. It definitely, and I wouldn't be saying this if it wasn't true, it feels like a team approach. We work to resolve issues sometimes very late in the evening on just the days that things pop up, and it's been a good relationship. And so I outlined the key things that we continue to implement as far as more recent observations, but most of the things in 2022 that we discovered are more operational in nature, so I didn't want to get this board into the weeds, so I'll not do that. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and Kat, if you have anything you'd like to share, of course, feel free to do that. But looks like you're going to stay put unless you're asked
Okay, Kat, you can
questions.
move.
Okay, all right.
I didn't know if I should wait for public comment, so
No, this is
I was
not.
waiting. Just wanted to say thank you. We appreciate being able to celebrate the Cherry Festival and the Cherry Harvest annually. What we're looking forward to celebrating is the 98th and 99th National Cherry Festival in 24 and 25, with 2026 being our 100th anniversary in beautiful downtown Traverse City. So we are honored to do that again. To echo Benjamin's wonderful comments, 2022 is a wonderful year. We did celebrate 100% recycling for our organization for the festival, which is incredible. We had an independent study done by Seeds, and they said, yes, every single thing was recycled that was on our property. And considering we are a non-gated event, that told us that we are being really good stewards of our environment and our city parks, and we want to continue that moving forward. So really, it's just a thank you for allowing us to continue to celebrate and being wonderful partners in it.
So I received one email, maybe I did, but we haven't extended the time period from when they start. It's the same time period that we've been having for the last.
Right, same time period for the event itself as well as setup and takedown for quite a few
Okay,
years.
so, thank you. Just wonders. Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do tonight.
Oh, Richard, win and pay points tonight.
I'm going to read the motion that one of you will say that you like. That the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute an agreement with the National Cherry Festival Foundation, which authorizes the use of city personnel and resources for the 2024 and 2025 National Cherry Festival events, with the agreement to be modified to expressly indicate that the agreement is contingent upon the necessary street use permits in parks and public land use permits issued by the city clerk, with such agreement subject to approval as to its substance by the city manager.
So moved.
I almost took that after all the ones I'd read.
But
Took that?
No, I said I almost.
were you moving your lips at the same time? Is there a second? Who seconded it? Mitch, okay.
Oh, I did?
Raise your hand.
Okay.
Okay, all right. All those in favor, is there anyone from the public that would like to make a comment on? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Can't wait till Cherry Fest.
Okay. With that, I'm going to be turning the meeting over to Mayor Pro Tem Shamrow. Ms. Shamrow, so we don't have to worry about turning it back. You get to do the rest of the agenda.
Oh, okay.
I'll be back when after this next item's done.
Yes. All right, and so the reason that I will be taking the helm today is that we had a DDA ad hoc, and as the mayor previously let us know, one of his son-in-laws was one of the people up for reappointment, and so ad hoc was formed without the mayor, though this is a mayoral appointment, and we will take the vote as ourselves, he has removed himself for any kind of deliberation out of complete transparency and fairness, which I think he is above and beyond, and I appreciate that. So we have before you the ad hoc that consisted of myself, Commissioner Warner, and Commissioner Wilson for the consideration of 3 seats that were up for reappointment. It's kind of weird because I was the chair too, so kind of doing all the talking here. Looking at what was on the horizon, we agreed as an ad hoc to reappoint all 3 seats. are all three people who are Katie Bertodato, Gabe Schneider, and Jeff Gibran. They've done a lot of work on the DDA and are really intricately involved, in a lot of the planning that's going on for the next couple of years. So we thought it would be good to have them continue on with a board that, other than them, is relatively recent appointees, all within their first terms. And I believe there's already been another resignation, so there'll be some more appointments coming. So with that, I'd just say that everybody who applied, we had really great conversations. There were some really interesting people that we got to talk to, some people we've talked to before that have been involved in the city, kind of on the periphery, and some people who were brand new and just interested, and that was really nice to see as well. Some people who just have moved into the community and feel like they're, as a kind of Commissioner Treadwell alluded to earlier, new enough, wanted to get involved in the community and put their hat in the race, and all of them were appreciated. And there will be some opportunities in the future for more interviews and for more opportunities to get involved, both through the DDA and other boards. So with that, I'll leave it open for any comments from my fellow commissioners that were on the ad hoc or a motion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll make comments. So we thought this would be in front of us much quicker, but we've had more time, and so I think about things. So in thinking about it more, I'm still very supportive of the appointment of Katie Bertodato, but I'm not supportive of the reappointments of Gabe Schneider and Jeff Gibran. And reason for that really gets to our priorities as a city commission. We've made it clear, we have a strategic priority to view all of our goals and actions through the lens of climate impact. And housing has been a top priority for this city commission and previous city commissions. And while it was shared that the climate crisis and the housing crisis are also priorities of the DDA board, to me, it gets to, and I'm not going to try to quote him, but our current president has something about, don't tell me what your values are, show me your budget, and I'll tell you what your values are. So I feel there's not enough sharing of those values. And both of these gentlemen have served for 7 years, so it's not like it's a new thing and they need to get readjusted, whereas it is still relatively new to Katie Bertodato. And to me, then, it kind of gets to, we're a small town. It's hard. Like, we're Midwestern nice, but we have priorities. Midwestern nice, or priorities. And it's gut-wrenching. It's really hard. But I have to go with priorities.
Okay. Other comments?
I would say that as an outsider to the ad hoc, but somebody that tries to regularly attend or at least watch DDA meetings, I have been very satisfied with Gabe Schneider's service, and I would be supportive of him continuing to do so.
Well, I'll make the motion that Mayor Pro Tem's appointment of Katie Bertodato, Gabe Schneider, and Jeff Gibran to the Downtown Development Authority Board of Directors for the terms expiring September 15th, 2026, seats previously held by Katie Bertodato, Gabe Schneider, and Jeff Gibran, as recommended by the ad hoc committee consisting of Mayor Pro Tem Shamro, Commissioner Warner, and Commissioner Wilson, be approved.
Support.
All right. Any public comment on this? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stanley,
Yes.
Commissioner Treadwell,
Yes.
Commissioner Werner,
No.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Shamro.
Yes. That passes, right? That's
It
on favor.
passes, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for... Okay. And in that same vein, as was discussed, one thing we did mention, I forgot to mention at the top of that, we did note that we were late even getting the request for an ad hoc to be formed on these. I know the clerk's office was keeping an eye on that, but just we kind of were saying that maybe in general, if we could get the ad hocs formed well before the terms are over, that because our scheduling for a lot of people has been so difficult, sometimes it can take a month and a half to get something on the calendars. So if we could start seeing those come in a little bit earlier, we could probably reappoint or appoint sooner. So, sorry, I derailed us on that one. So moving on to item 2 here. the consideration of accepting the resignation of Damian Lockhart from the DDA Board of Directors, as that was previously mentioned, and creating an ad hoc to fill the vacancy. As we all know, being involved in public service is rewarding, but it can sometimes also be very busy and time-consuming. So we'd like to have a mayoral appointment, or a mayoral-led ad hoc established for Mr. Lockhart's as well as Michael Brodsky's. It wasn't mentioned in the top of the memo, but he has moved out of district and would be invited to apply as an at-large, but he has moved out of district, and that was a seat that he was appointed to for as a resident. So we've got 2 seats here. I'd entertain any motions or if anybody has any questions.
It's blank for the, as secretary of the committee. Is that?
Oh. I don't know.
Yeah, that's request the city manager has asked that you start designating secretaries for these committees at the commission meeting. So you can decide when you name the members of the ad hoc, which of you, as far as the members that would serve, would be the secretary.
Can I ask why that is?
Well, some of these, staff doesn't attend, so we want to make sure that there's minutes of the meetings.
Okay.
Well, we usually do that at the very first meeting. Who's going to be the secretary?
I'm willing to volunteer if this motion is made.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Mark
Ad hoc
was
committee
just
be
about there.
established to make recommendation regarding 2 mayoral appointments to the Downtown Development Authority Board of Directors with the term expiring September 15th, 2024 for the seat previously held by Damian Lockhart, and a term expiring September 15th, 2023 for the seat previously held by Michael Brodsky, and that Mayor Lewis, Commissioner Warner, and Commissioner Stanley be appointed to such committee with Mayor Lewis as chair and Commissioner Warner as secretary of this committee.
And just as a clarification, if you can have your motion officially accept Damian Lockhart's resignation. Thank you.
And accepting Mr. Lockhart's resignation.
Great.
I thought that was in, I was just reading the memo, so.
Yeah, I thought he said it at the beginning.
It's right at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't read that sentence.
Yeah.
Right.
This
Right.
sneaky.
Okay.
Support.
And that the resignation of Damian Lockhart from the Downtown Development Authority Board of Directors effective December 31st, 2022 be accepted.
Still support.
Great, and I would just quickly make the comment that if that is going to be required, that the secretary, that's fine, but we've also been discussing that instead of the papers, that we will be doing the, I'd like to make sure that all these then, especially if we have an appointed secretary, are sent the link in advance, which would help alleviate the paper trails, as it were, getting lost. That would allow these to be sent directly from the ad hocs.
Absolutely.
So, to our little devices we have here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any public comment on this? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Good luck to you all on that. There's some good candidates usually here. Okay, and here's another ad hoc. I thought I've had a busy schedule lately. I'm on this one. I was on this one as well. So this was an interview committee for the appointment of the Board of Tax Review. Barbara Reichel be appointed, was up for reappointment. And was I the chair of this one? Okay. So kind of hoping somebody else was on this case, doing a lot of talking. We did decide to reappoint Barb because it is a very high learning curve on this board. One of the kind of results of that discussion was that, much like we have for Board of Zoning Appeals, it might be useful for us to have, what did we decide, like a reserve?
An alternate.
Alternates available. We did find out through that process that that would require a charter amendment vote. I have been talking to staff about potentially putting a charter amendment on before anybody, I know charter amendments in recent history have been large, maybe controversial issues. This would just be to allow there to be an alternate available. What we kind of gathered while we went through this process was both that it is a high learning curve, so having some people with a little experience ahead of time might be helpful for stepping into full-time seats as they become available. Also, some people who are interested find once they get involved that there can be sometimes a conflict with their own jobs. A lot of people who are interested have careers that overlap with this. So we just think that that would be maybe something worth pursuing to offer that backup, as well as sometimes people just aren't available the day of. These are usually a couple days worth of long days. It's basically 2 days of work, not a couple hours in a meeting. And so sometimes people just have scheduling conflicts and they can be in danger of not even having a quorum for their deliberations. So while this is a simple reappointment, there's a lot of maybe other housekeeping that we discovered we might need to do in association with that. So I just wanted to let everybody know that that might be coming before you all.
Yes, as somebody that sits on the Board of Zoning Appeals, which, similar to the Board of Tax Review, does have a certain learning curve, but it also, compared to other city boards, has, because it meets infrequently on an irregular schedule, compared to Planning Commission meets first and third Tuesday of every month. It does mean that there's a higher likelihood of scheduling conflicts and also a higher likelihood of relevant conflicts of interest that a given person might have through their own property or through their financial connections. So I would strongly encourage creation of alternate seats and going the charter amendment route if that is deemed necessary.
Excellent. Thank you, Commissioner Treadmill. Does anybody want to make the motion actually, sorry, we got so into the weeds on that. We did, again, have some excellent people apply who had some expertise. If we can get these alternate positions open, we would definitely encourage them to apply again, or if anything opens up in the meantime. That was kind of what inspired us, too, is that there's a few people who are very interested that have that talent that we'd like to get them onboarded. So anybody who would like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion if you can remind me how to pronounce her last name.
Rishel.
Rishel. Okay.
Michelle.
I make that Barbara Rishel be appointed to the Board of Tax Review, to the seat previously held by Barbara Rishel and expiring December 31st, 2025, as recommended by the ad hoc committee consisting of Mayor Pro Tem Shamro, Commissioner Stanley, and Commissioner Werner.
Support.
Excellent. We've got a motion made by Mike Stanley, support by Commissioner Wilson. Any public comment on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you all for that, and we'll keep you updated as to the possibility of putting that through as a charter amendment. And lastly, another ad hoc for our Mr. Mayor. So we have here the Housing Commission, which is a mayoral appointment. So we have a seat that's previously held by Heather Lockwood and need to form this ad hoc. Luck of the draw as always, friends. So unless anybody had any questions, I would take a motion.
Also, make sure you include the motion to have a secretary, so because
yes.
Linda's not here, she gets it.
There we go. All right. Secretary is awesome. Automatically Commissioner Colbert.
I'll make a motion that an ad hoc interview committee be established to make recommendation regarding one appointment to the Housing Commission, term expiring November 30th, 2027, seat previously held by Heather Lockwood, and that Mayor Lewis, Commissioner Colbert, and Commissioner Treadwell be appointed to such committee with Mayor Lewis as chair and Commissioner Colbert as secretary.
Support.
A motion by Commissioner Warner, second by Commissioner Treadwell. Any public comment? Seeing no one looking enthusiastic, I'll take it back to the board here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll look forward to seeing how that goes. So finally, that concludes our business portion. Anything else to report from the city manager or staff?
Yes, if you would take a look at further down in regard to reports, there's a report there from our assessor, just making you aware that it did not work out with timing and the weather, the flyover, so that will be extended. It's unfortunate, but a reality.
Sure.
Get one of those balloons.
Yeah, I know. No, we don't need balloons.
It doesn't work as well.
Well, we hope.
No, I'm saying.
Just kidding. That's a little international relations humor. Okay. Seeing that, it doesn't look like we have any reserved public comment. Is there any general public comment from the remaining audience here? Again, not seeing anybody jumping up for that. Any final comments from our commission?
I hope that everybody is stocking up on milk, eggs, and bread. Well, not that they need those things, and I hope we don't see bare shelves at Meyer, but be prepared. We are under an alert for snow incoming.
Yes, keep your snacks ready. And I just wanted to thank Commissioner Treadwell for wearing his ASMSU sweatshirt. It was a good choice today to represent well during our meeting, so appreciated from a fellow Spartan.
Thank you.
All right, seeing as we have no other business, 8:05, pretty good on our part. I'm going to give credit to the mayor on that one. Everyone, this meeting is adjourned. Have a lovely evening.
Sign some stuff for me, Brian. Sure. This is the teacher agreement.
Like in bangs.
Stole your notepad.
What?
Cole really wants them to get going.